And we are back.
Like Zorro, bam, back in action. Here we go. Sorry, Chad.
No problem. Right.
Back
So,
over to you.
Yeah. So we were discussing before, just we are using international circuits. Right. We were discussing before that we are using international circuits, and yeah, it's all fun and games when you do use, local circuits as well as region-wide circuits that the drivers are familiar with. But in like with everything else in life, it's one thing to be a big fish in a small pond as opposed to, being in a bigger pond where you have more range to explore, there's more to do, and there's more on offer. So whilst yes, we have also exhausted those tracks in other forms of competition. It was used in the qualifier for an event earlier this year. That was Dover Raceway. We used it once last year as well. It's been used, and it's been used time and time again. Drivers are very familiar. If we want to test their talent and see what they're capable of, we have to give them a range of tracks that really do push their driving ability to the max. And trust me, we're starting on a track that definitely does that in Virginia International Raceway. A very technical circuit, one that is very demanding on the drivers, and one that you have very little room for mistakes because of the lack of runoffs. So, guys, as we are nearing the start of qualifying and all drivers look to be present, as we are nearing the start of qualifying, gentlemen, I am taking predictions. I will take the top 3 qualifiers and the top 3 in the race. How are we feeling? Starting with Andrew.
To be honest, I'm not sure. And the reason I'm not sure is this track
That's very
does
unusual for
not
you, 'cause you're
cater
very
to
short person.
anybody. Yeah, but in this case, I've seen the drivers driving on this track, and the track limits, especially in terms of the cuts, Mr. Eaton was giving me a rogue tour yesterday of the entire map, right? And the moment the fourth wheel comes off or goes out of bounds, that's it. At first, as you were saying, Chad, it was if you're gaining time, but based on, I'm not sure if it's changed for today, but the moment he cut it.
So just to clarify what that is, in qualifying, once there is a cut, that lap is invalidated.
Okay.
But during the race, you have to gain time in order for it. Well, you have 5 cuts. So once all 4 wheels leave the track, it counts as a cut. You can do that up to 5 times throughout the course of the race. Any more than that, and you will be penalized. However, if it is deemed that you have gained time through cutting the track, then an additional penalty could be applied where you have to give back the advantage gained by cutting that track. So if you say, I will tell you about my experience around turn 5, and
as we speak,
and as we speak, Mr. Romo having a moment there, going off track. But my experience around turn 5 in particular is that it is very easy to invalidate and gain time through that corner, because if you pin the throttle coming out of turn 5 is 2 parts. So if you pin the throttle coming out of turn 5A and you do not make the corner legally, you don't lose anything, but you certainly have gained something. And I think that would then warrant you giving back whether you gain a position or you gain time, you have to do something to rectify the situation.
Okay, well, I mean, with that said, I think today's race is probably going to lend itself to the most patient of drivers rather than those who are equipped with the pace. Because throughout the practice series, there weren't many battles, I would say, so they really have no experience of what it is like going side by side through these corners. Most of their attention has been focused on the correct line.
Well, we have seen them practice with other drivers and follow a little bit closely. Yes, we do respond to your messages in chat, so if you have anything to add or any comments that you would like shared, we are seeing your chats and we are responding as we go through.
Yeah, man. Big up your driver. Type in the guess that who you think's gonna win. We all have our idea who we think well, not that we were supposed to be impartial here, but I noticed Mr. Spence just kind of
Gave a very political answer.
Exactly. He
No,
just
it's not-
deflected. He's
No,
like,
no, no.
like Zorro
I
with
don't
his
need to
sword.
deflect. First of every race I've said it. I don't need to deflect. It's just the nature of the track. Why I'm here's what I think. Here's what I think
Right.
will happen. All right. So Eaton has been consistent. Right. He's been doing better.
Uh-huh.
Right. And he's even closer to the top two than he has been in terms of qualifying
Uh-huh.
in the past couple of races. So, based on how the track is situated, if he can allow Moss and Jaden to exit the track on account of their own battle, I guess, he will have an advantage. I don't think he should necessarily attack in the beginning. I think if he can maintain the same pace that he has, because quite likely, if it begins with the battle, you won't be able to consistently clock your fastest time if you consistently have to be focusing on the person behind you or in front of you for that matter. So if he can buy some time in the early stages, I believe he can play to his advantage. So right now, I'm gonna say it's up in the air. For me, I think it's up in the air.
Okay, and Mark Anthony Eaton, a relative rookie to a lot of field, but
Well, it's true. I don't know why you did ear quotes.
because
The man's only been racing
No.
from December.
No, it was something from yesterday. That's why I did it.
yeah, no, but that's still very rookie. He's been at this for 6 months and change, and there are drivers in here with years of experience. Moss has been at this for a little over 2 years. He started during the pandemic, and other drivers are more experienced in that they race in other forms and they've done other competitions. But what I will say about Mark Anthony Eaton is that what he does better than anybody is put in the work.
True.
If we look at the numbers that you see throughout the week, when the drivers do their practice sessions, you can look at the times and sure, like you said, Jaden and Moss are a little quicker, and they're quicker by just over a tenth, so they're not much quicker. But you see that Mark Anthony Eaton has doubled everybody else in the number of laps he has put in throughout the week.
Yeah, so he's third on that list. And if you notice, if you add the amount of laps for the top two drivers, you still don't get the amount of laps he's done.
Absolutely.
So as you said, he's able to put in the work. And it's not like he hasn't visited Victory Lane. He has other series elsewhere, and even here. But at the end of the day, he's in the top three at this point, and as long as you're within striking distance, as you said, he's got a chance here.
So as we're winding down practice here to get started with qualifying, all drivers have returned to the pits, and we will be clicking over into the qualifying session in a moment as we are at the starting time for qualifying. So whilst we do wait on the resumption of the session for for qualifying, I'm sorry, to start, um, I'm just gonna extrapolating Andrew's thoughts and his theories. And Andrew seems to think that there might be a victory on for Mr. Mark Anthony Eaton this evening. If
Quite
all
possible.
things.
I'm thinking it's a big possibility tonight. That's what I think.
Okay. All right. Well, as folks, as we're just about to start the qualifying, which will be 15 minutes, as you know, drivers will have 15 minutes to go as fast as they can, get the best time, and that will determine the starting positions for the feature 45-minute race. We are using the Virginia International Raceway, or VIR as it's called. It was built in it was opened in 1957. That's how old it is. And it's one of the most iconic North American circuits ever. It was closed in 1974, but was reopened in 2000 and with new management, and it has continued whatever illustrious history it has. So the circuit is 5.2 kilometers long. It has 17 turns, of which you are very familiar. Now, give me your breakdown of your assessment of this track, of this circuit. What is the defining feature, and how did it affect your driving when you attempted it?
So I will say that this is one of the trickier tracks to drive. Not in terms of the
So qualifying has started. We're 15 minutes. Sorry to disturb your chat. You can
That's
go ahead.
fine. No problem. So we have 4 drivers out on track already, and they'll be doing their outlaps to get started on flying laps.
So you're saying it's a tricky track.
It is a tricky
circuit.
track in that the end of sector 1 into sector 2, there are a sequence of corners that are supposed to be flat out, but if you put your line wrong even for not even a second, a fraction of a second, you could be 1,000 off in terms of turning, and it is over for you. And I'm of course referring to turn 6 into turn 9. That entire section of track towards the uphill before you get to turn 12 is just, it's so precise, it's like one flows into the other, and if you miscalculate by even a fraction, you might find yourself tumbling down the hill through the grass. And that's another thing to know. There's no forgiving runoff around the circuit. Because of the elevation change, when you do run off track, you find you'll be sliding downhill because it's all grass off the track. You'll be sliding downhill, so it's not losing half a second or a second by running off. You're losing seconds by, exiting the circuit. Andrew asked yesterday, if there's anything I can compare it to, and there's no one circuit to compare it to. It has elements of Silverstone, it has elements of Road Atlanta, I see elements of Suzuka around here, and when you combine those 3 tracks, all 3 tracks are very technical, very demanding tracks, very high speed, high risk, high reward type of deal. And that's what we might see happening here this evening.
As you know, and again, you speak about the speeds attainable on this circuit, and that's because it has 2 long straights. So the first is the front straight, which is basically 1 kilometer long, and then the back straight, which is 1.2 kilometers long. So basically 2.2 kilometers of the circuit is just absolutely flat out straight. And then you have the twisty sections and the elevation changes. Now, Andrew, I'm going to talk about the car, because you've driven this car on the circuit.
Actually, I have not.
Okay, well, you've driven this car
Yes.
on a circuit.
Yes, on a circuit.
On a circuit,
On a-
not necessarily this circuit.
Yes.
So tell us, what car is this, and your
Mercedes AMG GT3 4. Sorry. Yes, the drivers are quite limited in their capability, not capability, but rather the option to to modify the car or set up the car to
Yeah,
their liking.
we learned from the practice events that the brake balance, the brake bias, is actually not something that's set in the game. You actually have to physically set it up in the car. So we had
Right.
issues where drivers were forgetting that they had to set it up.
Yes, I definitely experienced that.
Speaking from experience, in
Yes.
my chase of base
You know,
race last week,
doing all these laps, and then when it came to race time now, majority of them forgot to turn it, well, readjust it. And the thing is, it's not like you can adjust it
at
in
the
the
moment
pits.
there, Andrew, as we just had the first driver completing a flying lap, it was Kurt Moss with a 152.2. Just to kind of give you a reference of what times are possible, pro times are the high 151s. Pro-am times are anything below a 153.2, and amateur times tend to range around the 155 region.
I have a beef here because there's no reason why we need to have the pro-am and am times here. We're all professionals here, and that's the time that we need to be. Anyway, sorry,
No, I agree.
sorry to interrupt.
I agree. We've seen already Moss and Harrison have more than surpassed what they have listed as pro times, and Mark Anthony Eaton is also not very far off. So we will see.
Whoa. There we go.
Moss running a little wide there through what looked to be about turn 8. But yeah, we see the drivers now starting to their flyouts. We have Eastman 2 seconds off the pace that Moss has laid down. One to watch is Jaden Harrison, who should be coming through for his flyout. He looks to be in sector 2 at the moment, finishing the hill to start the long straight, it would look like.
As I congratulate AM Designs on their absolute amazing livery. Again, back to you, Andrew. Again, driving the car, how difficult is it? You know, your limited setup, how's it feel on the circuit? Is it heavy? Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it a lazy car? You know, what's the plus and minuses of driving this car?
It's a car that takes some getting used to,
Yeah, okay.
because Eaton has done quite comfortable, I'd say, over 1,000 laps, not on one track, of course, but he said he's still, you know, he's generally overall like have gotten used to it, but there's still more room for improvement. Right? In my experience, it's a bit steady for me, a bit too steady for my style. I like when the rear of the car, I like when it's twitchy, I like when it's all over the place, I like the excitement, I like the noise. You know, I love that.
See, living up to the Zorro name, like the excitement.
Yeah, man, it definitely requires patience, and it's definitely a car that humbles you. It's not something you jump in and say, oh yeah man, need for speed, brake, you ride the wall and make the cut. You know, it's definitely not type of car, and it's especially because you cannot set it up to your liking, to your own style. So everyone has to conform to this, and I think it's a great idea.
Okay. All right. Well, we know that humility is not in your dictionary, so we'll move on. As you see, Jaden Harrison is on the top of the leaderboard. I call him Baby Driver. You know, he's young, a young driver. He's one of the youngers in the on the scene. Even though he's that young, his experience is quite significant, and we see that. When he's racing, you know, he's been consistently fighting for top honors. He has had success here and there, but at the end of the day, again, he's one of the top 3. And given the quality of the top 3, not even the top 3, the top 5, for you to be up there consistently, you are a great driver. So he's been the fastest in the pre-event practice. He's now the fastest on circuit in qualifying. So he will probably get pole. And as Andrew has pointed out, it's going to be, from the way it's looking right now, it's going to be Harrison and Moss on the locking out the front row. And
As
Eaton
Harrison has improved his previous lap time, and now he's at a 152.0. Previously, it was a 152.2, but 410 separate the top 4 drivers at the moment, and there seems to be more time to be found this is where we are, as Rory mentioned, very close to what our pro times, and those are the times we expect to see from these drivers. We were looking at delivers earlier, and you mentioned AM Designs, who has done all of the deliveries that you see here.
The Domino's car is making me hungry right now. I could order a pizza right now.
Oh no, I'm certainly a fan of the liveries being sported by Kurt Moss there. That car.
Yes, Sir Kurtling Moss, again, one of the fastest drivers here, and Mr. Spence's favorite here.
And we do see a commenter in the chat speaking of Twixen. We're not sure who Twixen is, but we'll still send a shout out. And we do appreciate the support that we are getting in the chat at the moment.
You know what? Sorry to cut the chat. One.
You don't have to apologize.
Back to the. No, I have to apologize. It's the master of ceremonies. I can't disrespect the man. No man.
Just jump like Bruce Lee.
Boom.
Say what you want to say.
About it's not really related to the car, but
Okay.
driving this car made me realize the difference in speed sensation when it came to the field of view and
Okay.
the driver position. Because
Okay.
when we were on Kailami, I was saying to myself, I generally drive.
See the World Traveler, South Africa.
Yeah, exactly. I was in the cockpit, and it was. I'm saying to myself, yo, this car is low. But then when I saw Mark driving on his current view right now, he's just sitting on the bonnet, have the steering on the bonnet and driving there, and it was a whole lot faster. I could see more of the track. I could see more of all of those
Well,
things. I didn't realize how important.
You know, one of the things that was interesting about this car that I noticed, and I was like, I understand that the Gorilla Designs, of course, they're the ones who made this car.
Moss improving his time there as we are continuing our discussion. He's still a tenth and a half short of Jaden Harrison, but
With under 5 minutes to go.
commented down, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I know, just like you were about to say, I noticed with the car, because you know, they with these cars they try to go for realism. I noticed that they have the if you go to the in-cockpit view, they have the light thing in the passenger side. So it kind of, as you said, it kind of blocks your view if you use the in-car view. It's interesting. I know you want to have things as real as possible, but then the other situation is that how are you affecting? I guess that's part of it being real, is that you have to be you're experiencing what the real driver in that car would be experiencing. Well, because if you look to the right, there's the big thing with the sticker for the lights, blocking your view. So you said you switched your view and it was much better.
It was much better, but as you said, I generally like to do things where it feels as real as possible.
Do we have anybody we can go on board with that we can?
I'm not sitting on any bonnet of any car driving. So
You can show the
works.
fans part of the view. So yes, so if you look to the right, you will see it says Lumi Rank, which is the display, the LED display that you see on the front of the car. Now, if you go to the straight cockpit view, as close as possible, you'll notice that nobody's using it at this point because clearly, as we were discussing, when you go to the window view, there you go, and that looks.
Well,
how can you drive through? You might as well be looking through a post box.
No. This is
Well,
not
it's on the
it.
passenger side
Yeah,
of
if you press, I think. So I drive like that,
Okay. Well, yes, as I said, this is the best. This would be the best view.
but it looks crazy. Slow.
Yeah, because if you zoom back out, then you have the problem with the
Yeah,
have the problem with the
Exactly,
with the sensor and stuff on the display on the stuff on the window. So, when I saw that, I was like, that's interesting to make it as realistic as possible. But I would think it'd be like, you're driving and there's this big display in the middle of your field of view.
And as you mentioned that, truth be told, when you somewhat get immersed, you tend to see right through those things. I mean, you're not actually seeing right through it, but your mind just adjusts. I don't know what it does.
Yeah, man,
but
I understand.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
man. So we're under 2 minutes now. Jaden Harris is at the top of the leaderboard. Kurt Moss in second place. Your predictions coming through. Mr. Eden, whether he will be third probably, but will he sit back or attack the second?
I forgot to to say this. The first couple of races we've been doing were all roll starts. Today is a standing start.
Okay.
So that was another factor that played into my
Is this
thinking
car?
that they. Huh?
Did you try a standing start with this car? Was it
No, I
hard
didn't
to
try
get
to
offline?
launch it. I cannot afford the diff. So, I make sure to take my time when I'm doing these things. But I was notified. The president had told me that it would be a standing start. So the launch in the beginning could very well play.
I'm speaking from experience. It's very easy to box this car down if you
So,
jump into
so
the
Dad, you've driven on this track?
I have, yes.
Okay, and one of the things you notice is that you mentioned is that the track's not very wide. It's a very narrow track. What do you think the first corner is there ability to attack into going to first corner one? Or is it we have to fall in line and
So I do think there is an opportunity to attack, but it's a longer drive to go around the outside, which is I think the only possible place you can go. It's a longer drive, but if you do get a better drive than say the person that you're trying to make the move on, it's possible. But then where you might get compromised is turns 2 and 3 are a little bit.
okay? So
They are more demanding in terms of where you position the car coming out of turn 1.
Is turn 2 a left-hander?
Yes.
Oh well.
Turn
okay.
2 and 3 are both left-handers, so you use one to set up the other, which is, again is the technicalities of this track.
So is this one of those tracks where it's better to be on pole, or is it better to be in second?
I certainly think it's best to be on pole around a track like this one, and
All right, Chad. Qualifying's finished. There we go. Up to you.
yeah. So I mean, here we are. Jane Harrison is still leading the field. Keep in mind the drivers are allowed to complete the flying laps that they're currently on. I don't see any improvement from Jane Harrison thus far. Moss is, however, improving through 2 sectors thus far.
Can you tell the fans the colors for the sectors?
So the green is his previous best lap. That time is quicker through that sector than his previous best lap. Purple should be best overall, and coming through well. Right, if you see yellow, then you are slower than your previous best and the overall time. So as Moss is coming to the end of sector 3 here, he has gone
Purple.
to the top
Whoa.
of the charts by just under a thousandth of a second.
My God. Whoa, Sir Kirtland Moss coming in with the last minute shot. He slam dunks it. First place. My God, if you don't think this is going to be a good
Harrison
race.
did improve. He just missed out.
Oh my God. Oh, there we go. Gentlemen, is this going to be a race or not?
This is certainly going to be a race.
Look at that. That is not only is that history tonight, this is JSR history right now. We need to record that. We need to take a photo of that. Whatever. Bam, bam, bam. That is just absolutely insane. That tells you how good these drivers are.
Certainly. So as we have come to the end of what proved to be an exciting qualifying session towards the end there, we have 2 drivers that are right on
Corner
the-
1 is going to be interesting.
And looking at the rest of the grid going down, I mean, Andrew might have been onto something with his prediction there. Eaton sitting 4 tenths back can just kind of cruise around as the front 2 will have a battle of their own through the first couple of sectors. Again, folks, you can't win a race in turn 1, but you can certainly lose a race in turn 1. So we hope to see these drivers maintain their composure, get through the first couple of corners, settle into a rhythm, and then we should have what promises to be a great race on our hands.
Viewers, fans, place your bets now. Put them in the chat. We're watching you. We're listening, etc., etc. This is just absolutely amazing racing going on right here. We're going to go into 45 minutes. These men will have 45 minutes of absolute track time to battle themselves down, at which point we will reverse the grid and do another 15-minute sprint race. So even if you win the race, there's still another race for you to lose or another race for you to win. It is the combined points between both races that will make you the winner tonight.
And just to clarify for the viewers what the point scoring system looks like.
Go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
Right. So the top 10 drivers, although we don't have all 10 in the race this evening, so all drivers will score points, with first place scoring 25, 18 for second, 15 for third. Fourth place gets 12 points, fifth place 10, sixth place gets 8 points, seventh place 6 points, and I think we do only have 7 drivers this evening.
Which I think we should really understand is that, because I think a lot of people would be, okay, well, why am I part of this if I'm going to come last? But you know, you don't know the race, you don't know what's going to happen. But even at the end of this, if you come here last, you still walk away with 6 points.
And you don't know who's watching either.
Exactly.
And then
Someone could see him like, hey.
That 6 points today could mean a whole world of difference later on. Again, it's a long series.
And you in the
Reverse grid.
in the reverse grid.
Right, there are points on offer as well for the sprint race. You get 8 points for first position, 7 for second, 6 points for third, 5 points for fourth, 4 points for fifth, 3 points for sixth, and 2 points for seventh. Also worth noting is Moss has already fired the first shot. He has scored the first half a point.
Okay, that's
For
right.
pole position.
There's points on.
So you get half a point for pole position and 1 point for the fastest lap in the Grand Prix. So already Kurt Moss has put himself above the field.
Yeah, and any competitor right now, again, if you look at it, no matter where you finish, if you finished at the bottom, you're leaving here with 8 points. And you never know, there's another 6 events, you never know how important those 8 points can be. So
Absolutely.
don't write yourself off because you're at a point. And again, even in the race, you know, you don't know where you're gonna go. So
Not on
you
this
just
track,
not,
yeah.
not on the track. And as you're talking about the mistakes, the cuts, you know, you might just move yourself up. There we go. That's an interesting.
So as we are getting ready to go racing here this afternoon,
Yeah, that's a weird setup. Sorry, we're okay. There we go. There we go.
Drivers are still
The drivers are
filtering in.
filling in.
So
Okay, so our server is just filling in the drivers. Again, thank all our viewers. Mitchin, thank you so much. Wish you were here to be racing with us, but we understand, you know, work calls. But yeah, next event, I hope you're here. You know, again, it's a points-based system. You're never out. It's always mathematically correct. Again, that Domino's car is making me want to order pizza.
So we are at 6 red lights, folks, and we will be going racing in a moment here as the lights are out and away we go. Kurt Moss seems to have gotten away very cleanly, and going into turn 1, it seems to be a drag race down to that corner between him and Jaden, and getting a little bit squirrely there. I'm not sure if some contact took place, but we have a little bit of chaos, and as that's why we tell you can't win the race in turn 1, but you can certainly lose it. Jaden Harrison seems to now have taken the lead, and Kurt Moss maintains second position.
Roper has gone up.
Eaton seemed to have been the victim of that incident, has fallen all the way down to 6th.
Maybe he had the issue with the brake bias. Whoa! And
Oh my goodness, a huge accident there for Calvin Roper coming out of turn 5.
is that the difficulty that you would say this
I
car has?
imagine that might bring out a safety car at this point. We will see if one is called for, but a huge accident there for Calvin Roper out
You
of
know,
turn 5.
I want that car to deliver my pizza.
I'm not sure if there was contact or he lost traction or something, because I saw a correction. He was turning in the opposite direction for the corner was actually dictating, and then he went off the track. So I'm not sure what that was with Mr.
So
Eaton there.
It does seem like there is a safety car here to kind of bunch the grid back up and get the race going again with the order. Unfortunate
Whoa,
incidents there between turns 1 and turn 5. Well, turn 1 incident and then an incident in turn 5.
Okay, so we're having a virtual safety car. Everybody's going to come in.
Right, so-
Everybody needs to catch up, and then
the field's gonna bunch
We'll
up,
bunch up, and then we're gonna
racing
go
again.
racing again in the straight line.
Right, and at that point, Eaton down in fifth position will hope to kind of make some moves at the end of the safety car as they go racing, just to.
You know, this will be a real test of his skill. Some real test of his skill. To you know, it's one thing when you're up front. It's another thing when you have to fight your way through
Oh, absolutely.
the pack. So again, still should be exciting racing.
Definitely, and Harrison and Moss, I'm sure you haven't heard the last of that battle up front, so we will see when we go racing again. I think the safety car will take them around the entire lap as they then go back to start-finish straight. The safety car will peel in as you get a look at the safety car
Or
leading.
Mercedes SLS.
Yep, the safety car there leading the grid. We are going through the procedure to get the cars back around start finish where they will resume racing, and they're being led by El Presidente driving the safety car.
The JSRA safety car, Mercedes SLS, making sure everything is kosher.
Quite so. And so we have 6 seconds, it seems, covering the field, which Roper has yet to catch right back up to the rest of the grid. He's about to catch up now. So I assume the safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap, where we have all drivers bunched together. Now, Tavar Clark has kind of just found himself in third position here out of nowhere, and that's motor racing for you.
And we've seen Tavar elsewhere. We know that if he can make his car as wide as possible, he's not going to just roll over and let you pass. You're going to have to fight to the end of it. Let's also remind everybody that there's going to be a mandatory pit stop. That window opens in 10 minutes, and then it closes at the last
minute of the race.
So,
and that pit stop does require a tire change.
yes, the tire change. There's no change in the compound, so we're not running multiple compounds, but you do have to come in for tires.
Fueling is optional, but I assume the quickest way around is to also take fuel at that pit stop.
Mr. Spence, what kind of strategy would you do with the pit stop? Is there a strategy?
I don't know.
Would you have started with less fuel, so your car's lighter and faster, and then you would get into your pit,
Not
fill
necessarily,
up, so do the run of the thing and the rest of the race, and get your tires.
We will look at that strategy momentarily, as I think Moss has just set the field off, and we are going.
Here we go. We are racing again.
So Harrison, I'm sorry, has set the field off, and as we go to turn 1 for the second time here under this restart, Harrison seems comfortably out in front from Moss. We will look to see what Mark Anthony Eaton can do, having been victim to lap 1 shenanigans.
We can see the smoke from the heavy braking, as you were saying about the car and how it handles.
Indeed. And so, sorry, Andrew, you were discussing your strategy plans prior to the restart.
Well, my strategy is based on my capability, I must first say. So,
And you're a very capable driver. We know that humility is not in your vocabulary.
no, sir. I was a whole, 6
Eaton there
seconds.
gaining a position on Jason Alexander, taking him on the inside out of turn 5 there, as they now go on the run up the hill. And a very technical section is this part of the track, easy to make mistakes. He looks to be all over the back of Clark, who is running wide there, and he might have been. Oh, Tavar did turn in on him there, and I'm sure the steward will be having a look at that one, and then he was brake checked.
What is that? What happened? Oh, there was an incident there.
He was brake checked, it seemed, by
No,
Kimani Eastman out of that.
No, I think there was an incident in front of him that
Held him up.
held him up.
But he has
Because you saw somebody coming in from the left a while ago.
Yep. He has since gone back into third position, but
A very eventful race, not a train.
We knew this
Oh,
was.
and it looks like
Moss
there's
and
an
Harrison.
incident between
Whoa, there we go, and it continues.
my goodness,
Are we
chaos all around?
Are we going to see some NASCAR stuff tonight?
Well, prediction someone came through, so let's see if This race is just
So from fifth all the way
To first
to
in
first
one lap.
in one lap.
There
Again,
is
there is
chaos everywhere.
this
and
race is absolutely we have no idea what's going to happen here. That's why we race, folks. We race to see what will happen, and that's why you don't just give up, because you have no idea what's going to happen.
Very much so. And Moss now finds himself in Eaton's position from the last lap, where he's down in fifth and will have to fight his way back through the field.
And we know he goes through the field like a hot knife through butter. So
Indeed.
this is going to be interesting.
And I'm sure he'll be driving in anger after whatever. the
Oh,
incident
little
that was.
red mist. I probably think it's
Oh, my
like
goodness.
red hot now.
Harrison fell to third in that same incident. The stewards are gonna have their work.
They're
cut out
gonna,
for
it's
them
gonna
this
have
evening.
some. There's gonna be some words tonight. There'll be some fisticuffs over.
We will now, as we ride here with Kurt Moss, who is looking to make a move
There we
on
go.
the Kelvin Roper for fourth position.
Yes, he's got a chunk of drivers in front of him, a train of three, the pizza delivery.
Rory seems very taken with that Domino's
Mr.
car.
Is that Mr. Eastman driving the?
I do believe it is.
Yes. So if he gets it right, he could literally. He has to get up to Harrison first.
Yeah, and I think.
But a good move, can he get all the way back to second place in one move?
I don't think he will, because
There
here's the
we
thing.
go.
Roper
Okay.
knows how to make his car very big, and these three in front. Well,
Yes.
maybe you might be right, because these three in front seem to be kind of holding each other up, and
Yeah.
if he gets the right drive out of this corner, going into turn one, who is to say he won't be right there looking for that move? Harrison seems to be all over Eastman and will now take that position
There he
back.
goes. There he goes.
And holds the inside line, does Jaden Harrison, as we go into turn one. And does he make that move stick? He does, as Moss and Roper are fighting it out here just behind. Moss has again lost some positions, maybe
He's off.
having another coming together there with Roper in that battle. A torrid start for Kurt Moss.
Well,
There are 35 minutes left in this event, so
This race is not processional. Not everything's happening. I'm telling you, you would need to be glued to your TV right now.
absolutely, there are incidents everywhere. There's battles all over the track as Roper and Eastman are right with each other.
But I'm going to have Mr. Spence give me the lotto numbers. Because his prediction is.
Yeah, very much accurate. Although Harrison now back in second position will begin his chase after Mark Anthony Eaton, so we'll keep an eye on that gap as 4 tenths just came down, just like that, as we were talking about it.
All right, so we got the pit window open.
apparently there's a
Okay, so I think another safety car has been issued given all of the chaos around the track. And so Eaton now leads as the pit window has just opened, as Rory did mention. So
Okay.
is this an opportunity
Yes,
for a
this
driver
is
to take their pit stop?
Here's a possibility. It's 45 minutes. And some of these drivers, of course, would have just treated this like a sprint race and just fill the car. They're going to change the tires, and that's it. But there's a bit of, as we know with Assetto Corsa, there's a bit of gamesmanship. If you alter the fuel load of the car, it affects the weight, which affects how
The
fast it is.
drivability.
So you can drop the fuel to a certain point, which will give you the amount of the lap time you need to be ahead of the field. The question is, how much fuel do you drop it to ensure that you are able to get to the end of the race whenever you refuel? So I'm not sure if anybody has used that sort of
Sorry
structure.
there, Rory, as
Sure.
it looks like we've gone racing again. Moss
Okay, go
and
back up.
Roper both gaining positions on the safety car restart. Moss taking Kavar Clark to end up back in fifth position. Eastman and Roper going at it. Roper should be on the inside there coming through now.
It's a nice
to
clean pass.
maintain third position indeed. I think Eastman outbraked himself there going into that corner. Harrison all over the back of Eaton,
Ooh, bit
and
sideways
having
there.
a little bit of snap there,
maybe-
going through turn 4.
Maybe he drove over a pepperoni slice.
Oh my goodness. As we're now on the run up the hill, nowhere really here for any moves to be made, so these drivers better just keep it clean going up the hill. And
You can see the complexity of the course from here. You know, you
Absolutely.
have to get those lines immediately correct, or you are having you're not going to have a good day.
definitely no. Here's where the drive out of the next 2 turns on the long straight back down the hill could lend itself to a move going into the turn 14. Well, Harrison doesn't seem to be close enough. Moss has made his way back up to 4th already, and he's on the hunt for Roper in front of him.
Are we going to see some push to pass here, or is it going to
He
be
was
his Roper is going
right
to
with
fold under
Roper
the
there.
pressure?
And I don't imagine Roper will be holding Kurt Moss behind him for very long. By the time we get back to start finish straight, which we are doing so now, we will see on the run down to turn 1 what happens.
Let's also point out these cars are basically equal. There's the only difference here is what little minimum setups that you can do. So it's not like one is completely faster than the other. So one of the tricks that you will see people using because of the long straight is the draft. See, look how good that was good braking. He's closed up. He's right there. He's on the edge. The question then now is that, are you going to force Roper into a mistake, or are you going to try and make your own opportunity?
I think you just kind of stick with him through this section. Well, again, it's tricky to decide where you want to make these moves, or you're just hoping for the mistake.
There we go. There was the mistake. There was the mistake.
There, and that's Europa again into the wall here. And Moss will now begin his hunt for the top 2, who are currently nose to tail going through sector 2. 3 seconds adrift to Kurt Moss.
So the top 3 are back at the top 3.
Indeed. And Moss 3 seconds adrift. We'll see if he can close that gap, as these 2 might get into a little bit of a squabble.
There we go. Alexander, who was at 7th, is now in 4th. Again, good position. That's a nice, good points paying position. Again, we have half an hour left. We're gonna see these back and forth, and the pit stops are just gonna throw everything up. Now, how do you feel? I know this is early for the pit stops, but Andrew, how do you feel that the pit stops are gonna go? Do they have to react to each other immediately, or do you think it's a situation where, Moss will let them go in, he'll put in a blazing fast lap or 2, use that advantage, and then come in and then go back out in the lead?
I think, as you said, Moss is going to. His talent is when he has an unbelievable chase pace, but once he, reaches first place, I think he's gonna put in a couple.
Sorry to break you. Look at the battle. What do you say? What are you seeing right here? What is he doing wrong? What is he doing right?
I don't think he's doing anything wrong. He's putting that car where, I see Jaden trying to position his car so he can get a better exit, but on when he's gaining, car is sitting where he wants that boost, so inevitably has to ease off once again.
So who has the responsibility here as a driver? The person in front, or the person chasing?
I would say the responsibility to do what exactly?
To make the move, make a clean path, to set things up.
Oh, that certainly falls on the chaser.
Yes, definitely. The driver in front can not do whatever, but however he can dictate. He can actually dictate how Jaden decides to drive, because if for every corner for example, Jaden decides to go wide or brake early so he can have a faster exit, if he positions his car in that particular way where the exit makes no sense every single time, Jaden is going to have to rethink how he approaches the exit for the consecutive corners after that. So,
and as the top 2 are battling, and they are battling a little bit, there are moments where they're either holding each other up or, you know, impeding a little bit. It is giving Moss the opportunity to close this gap.
Yes, you can
It's already
see.
on the 3 seconds.
Yes, he was at 3 seconds. He's now 2.5, 2.4, 2.3.
He's
There
gaining
is an
on
exit.
6 tenths.
And that's the draft right there. This is a braking battle. Eaton has the line because he's on the inside. So
And that's good defense off of Mark Anthony already.
yeah, we're gonna go. See, we're gonna break. And boom, he's got the inside line. Ooh, hold him out. Some NASCAR style there. If you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing.
Little contact,
That's a-
but good.
Can we get a? Are we able to get from the stewards the amount of cuts? Because we were expecting a lot of people would be breaking.
So there are 5 cuts allowed in total.
Okay. Has anybody cut so far?
We can't actually tell at this stage. Unless we do maybe here. I will tell you in a moment.
The chat is
find that.
pulling up his excellent data services.
Yeah, I'll let you know momentarily. What the situation
Is it a situation that in qualifying you're pushing harder than you would be during the race? That's why you're making all the cuts and the mistakes versus when you're battling with another car. Is that why we're not seeing the amount of cuts that we did? That you're commenting from the practices and stuff like
Well,
that.
you certainly have to be mindful of it, as Moss has caught right up to the 2 leaders, and it is now a 3-way fight.
Yeah, I think they're very much more, or more so cautious because the track is, as we can see, it's really not being very forgiving. So those cuts are definitely.
Oh wow. Okay. Let me take my foot out of my mouth. Yeah. So Jason Alexander in 4th. He's on.
He's gone all 5 of his
He's
cuts.
got his 5 cuts. He's been driving as fast as possible to try and keep up with the with the front pack in 4th. Kale has 2. Well, you know, given the amount he's
been on the grass.
He's
Yeah,
been on the
Moss-
grass a couple of times.
Moss has had a cut.
Yes, I would think so. Again, he's probably taking advantage of the fact to get the lines that he needs to. Because that's the truth, you know. I see it all the time in real racing, be it supercars, where what they have to do is that they have to stop telling the drivers to cuts. Because.
Oh my goodness.
And here we are. It's like fish in a bowl. We're back to it. All 3 are racing. They are separated by smoke, by the exhaust pressure between them. They're back and they're going to be going at it for. I do not think this is going to end until the end of the race.
Oh no, certainly not. And they are all pushing as hard as they possibly can. Eaton doing well to defend from these 2 at the moment, and Moss is picking his spots, waiting for the opportunity here to make his move.
Do you think he's going to? Are you sure he's going to wait? You sure?
I think he's going to wait until.
I think he's looking for the right moment because again, some sections of the track it really doesn't make sense. Here we go again down the long straight, and I think Jaden might get Mark here as Mark struggled a little bit coming out.
I'm going to put that Mr. Moss is under the red mist and that he's going to go in for the kill.
I believe you, and at this stage, it might look he's playing a game of chicken at the moment because he seems to be backing off of Jaden just a little bit, and he might be looking for the dive down the inside here. Thought better of it, as he would, because I don't think that was a section of track to make that move. But as
Well, you never know until you try.
I don't know how that corner would work, making that move stick. But as we're going back to start-finish straight here, let's see what the gaps look like. 7 tenths separate the top 3, and I think
that was a wide line out the end there. He went off into the grass. The pit window
might be looking to have another look here at Mark Anthony Eaton, but Mark is holding that inside line ever so perfectly.
Beautiful.
I don't think there is a possibility.
Gonna try to cut back here. Is he gonna try?
That's not gonna happen.
No, Mark not leaving any room to do that. And there's 23 minutes of this action to come, folks, as we are just over halfway through the race.
And as we can see, the pit window is still open. I again, what's the strategy? Are they going to react to each other? You know, is it a situation where Kurt is going to go, look, these people are crazy. I want the fresh air so I can get my laps in. So I'm going to come in, get my fresh tires, and go.
And I think that
Or
might
is he
be a
going to
good
stick
strategy
with everybody
for
and wait for
Kurt at this
everybody?
stage. It might be good for Kurt to take that approach where he dives into the pits and gives himself some clean air to pound in the laps, because at current, I think he has the pace to be ahead of these two, but the fighting between the two of them would certainly give him an advantage in the pits as they're getting very testy here.
There
the
we
top
go.
three.
We can see the brakes. They're glowing.
So yeah, I do think
Ooh,
it would be smart. Jaden looks to have the run on Mark here.
Oh my
Back
God.
there, and if he gets ahead before the turn 14.
The computer says he's up one. Says he's.
Oh no, he has yeah.
Can we? Is he gonna make it? Is he gonna make it? Is he gonna make it?
Such close racing and good, clean, fair racing between these two drivers.
They could reach out and touch each other's car.
My goodness. Jaden has made the move stick and is now in first position.
All right, Mr. Moss. A rolling
He
Mercedes
looks to
gathers
have
no stone.
the pace here to kind of make, but then all these two touching. I think Mark was trying to look to take the inside line there. But yeah, ooh, it's
Mr. Spence,
it's
come
so
on,
tight
let's hear your
up front
commentary.
here at the moment, folks. This fight will continue on lap after lap. And I'm surprised one of them don't just dive into the pits at this stage, honestly. Because you have
Here is the problem, because you need to have an undercut. The problem is that they're also close. So the only, as I said, the only person that's whoa,
getting a little bit twitchy
there
there.
we
Mark
go,
Anthony,
and
but kept it on the road. Oh Lord, this action, my heart. it's not.
and if it's
slowing
like
down.
this, I can't imagine what the sprint race is gonna be like. Because
And
they have 15
let's
minutes.
remind everybody, this is race 1.
Yes.
There are 6 more of these to go.
Oh,
Not
God,
tonight, but
yeah.
over the next 12 weeks.
Yeah.
There are 6 more races to come.
Yeah.
And it promises to have action like this each and every time. I mean, you can't want more thrilling racing action than this.
Definitely not. All right, so let's go back to what we're saying. The whole point of the pit stop is that you'd want to undercut. That means that you go in and come back out with enough time that you're back into your position. But if the person is turning the same lap times as you, if you go in, you're not going to get a
Right,
break.
but here's the point.
Moss is the only person that's technically faster. So for
But you
him,
don't
it would
know
make
who's
sense for
speeding
him.
up. Yeah, but you don't know if the other two are holding each other up. And again, maybe they do have the pace that if you put them in clean air, and Mark Anthony makes a move.
Oh,
and
I thought he was
maybe
going to go
that
get some pizza.
maybe that's the right thought, because back and forth the battle continues. Now maybe these two start fighting, and that gives him a chance to put in laps in clean air while these two have a battle of their own. And
Ooh, so
stop
Jason
gate
Alexander
penalty.
for speeding in the pits.
indeed,
Okay, all right. What's the speed limit that was in the pits?
it's supposed to be 82 kilometers per hour. As Eaton is now making his exit from the pits, comes out in 3rd position as well. No, it should be 4th.
Ooh, makes a mistake there. Fresh tires, or did he forget to adjust the brake bias again?
I don't think that's a possibility. He might have forgotten to adjust the brake bias, and the car does look to be a little bit twitchy. Maybe cold tires as well.
Yeah, there
as
we go.
Rocco is right there on the tail of him. Now, Jason Alexander, having done his pit stop, will have to go back to the pits for his stop go
I
penalty.
I don't think it changed anything, because the timing on coming up, the usual pit stop time takes for these cars is how much, like 20 seconds?
Well, he's 24 seconds down from the 2 leaders, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened there. We'll get some insight into what might have happened on that pit stop. As
Well,
Lopo's still getting a little twitchy there, giving Eaton a chance to free himself.
As he entered the pits and reached his station, I noticed his mechanic put the stop go bar across and lift it up immediately, and so I don't.
Well,
I don't
there
that's the
might
place.
Well, I mean, if you're just doing tires, then how long does it take to do
No,
tires?
these cars take a while.
Change the
Well,
tires?
All
I
right, just
also
done
think
so far.
Well, we'll see at the end of it.
what might have happened is you have to set up your pit stop to happen, and if you don't put all of the features of the pit stop in prior to the race, you can't change it on the fly.
Oh, okay.
So So it might be where he didn't make the correct adjustments. And,
He
and
didn't
has
put
gone
it
in,
into.
right,
He didn't tell the
and
pit
has
stop
gone in and come out
without it changing the tires.
Indeed.
But does that count?
It does not, because the requirement is for the compound to change.
Okay. All right. Cool. See, that's why you're here, Chad. Okay. Otherwise, I'd be dumb to all of this stuff. And sorry, you too.
And
No, I
David
agree. I totally
Harrison
agree.
has taken his pit stop as well. And
So here we are.
we'll see where he comes out, because I think that will give us an indication of what Eaton had done. Harrison also, I'm not sure, because that seemed very quick a pit stop as well. But okay, so the pit stop delta looks to be about 26 seconds. But we'll now observe. I see the green indicating that.
Yes. So what happened? So here's what. Okay. So here's what would happen now. See, there's 24 between Moss and Eaton. So what would happen, as we said, the delta is 26 seconds. So that would mean that if Moss went in at this point in time, Jason Alexander got another. Oh,
No,
he's
he's
taking
his
his
penalty.
taking his penalty. He's 24 seconds. So that if Moss went into the pit right now, he would come out 2 seconds behind Eaton.
Well, and therein could be the advantage of being the first one in, because maybe there was some impeding between Harris and Moss that caused a little bit of time lost. But here's my thing. Harrison, now having stopped, is 15 seconds behind Eaton, who he was ahead of when he did his pit stop. So maybe there was something of note in Eaton's pit stop that did not happen, and so the stewards will have to have their say as Eaton runs wide here.
As I said, this is
Keep
why
it going, though.
this is why we race. We need to see these things. You know, everything's always theory until it's onto the track.
Absolutely.
And this is level of excitement we need to show everybody. Again, they came in the top three, and look at how the field has it's just been ping-ponging back and forth.
Absolutely.
Up and down. It's nothing's a given.
Roper now takes his pit stop, and I guess
All
this
right,
will give us an idea.
let's
of
watch his
what
pit
it looks
stop.
like indeed.
Okay,
So
boom.
he has stopped, and he'll be stationary for about 20 seconds.
There we go. Boom, 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 boom.
So
boom.
as we roll through, yeah.
Here we go. 25, 26, 27, 28, 20. Wow. Okay.
So I think there may
He's
have
at
been
32.
some errors
What
in the
did
pit
he-
stop for Mark Anthony.
Maybe he's getting fuel as well. There we
Yep.
go.
Well, fuel is actually quicker than the tires, so
Okay.
at the end of the day, I do think there was an error there for Mark Anthony. That pit stop was about 36 seconds in total. So yeah, Mark Anthony may have to take another stop.
At any point did we see this race going this way?
So, based on the practice time that we saw throughout the week, they were all within a tenth of each other. So certainly there was room for it to be exciting as it is now. Moss now
yes.
takes
So
his
let's
pit stop,
follow
so
this
let's see
one.
where he comes out in
Okay.
relation to.
Braked up. Let's hope he didn't get a pit lane speeding violation.
I think we have noted it by now, but yeah, that's gonna promote Eaton back into first. But I don't think Eaton is gonna maintain that first. Whether it is that he's gonna have to take a penalty at the end of the race, or
Well, I'd say if you look at it now, Eaton's 27 seconds. So if the pit stop's 26, that means that Moss should come back out in front.
so we will observe as Eaton now goes by while Moss still sits in the pits. Harrison comes out and has just made
There
it
we
past
go.
Moss. So the undercut seems to be the way to go around
There
the
you
track,
go.
gentlemen.
There you go.
And Moss will now have to begin the
So
chase all
again,
over again.
we're back with the top three. They're within.
Well, Harrison and Moss are within a second, 2 seconds of each other. However, Eaton is 10 seconds to the road, but I think with conditions to be applied.
Why didn't Moss go green, and doesn't the green indicate that he took his pit stop?
Well, I see lots of drivers without the green who have also taken their pit stop, so I'm not
Okay.
sure what might have occurred there.
Maybe the
That we leave that to the stewards.
Yes,
to determine
okay.
how that
With
goes.
the-
We
with
are
the
here
game-
to commentate, not be.
yeah, the game's glitching, so we'll figure. Or maybe when they do their lap, it'll
Right, so
update.
we'll see what happens as we go along.
So we have another battle here in the last 10, 15 minutes of this. So are Harrison and Moss going to keep each other up to allow Eaton to just walk away with this?
Yeah. Well, we will see how this goes because right now I think they're just biding their time as it seems they're not really pressing to race each other. Towards the back of the field, I see Islan and Alexander looking like they might have a race on their hands as these two are.
Well, as long as you finish further than you started, it's a good thing. Let's hope that he does a better job of maintaining the track limits. And again, there's nothing to be sad about here. You can get a good points haul for this race, and then when you go back to the reverse grid, because think about this, he'll be second. He would probably be second on the sprint race. So
Right.
there is the possibility here that he could have a nice points haul tonight.
Certainly, and we will see how everything shapes up after the stewards have done their reviews. All results will be posted on the relevant social medias, which are displayed in the lower left corner of the stream. As you are watching with us on the Twitch stream or maybe Sports Max. And
Yes, again, we have to thank SportsMax for broadcasting our event. We've been working with them since last year. We really appreciate what they've brought to us, and we hope that they're in. It's been a very good partnership, and we will be continuing this again for the
Sure.
next few weeks.
So, as the order stands now, we would have taking 25 points. Well, again, that still has an asterisk beside it, as we're not sure what the standings are there. Harrison would take 18 and Moss would take 15, but Moss also has half a point already, and it
Yes.
is yet to be determined which driver will take the fastest lap of the day. Currently, not sure what the current fastest lap is, as we will be able to tell momentarily. It looks to have been by Kurt Moss, who has done a 1:52.6, and I don't think any other drivers within the 1:52 range at the moment. So Moss would be taking 1.5 points additional.
So if you're looking at the telemetry, he's got the highest top speed. He's doing 244, 48 kilometers. So you can see where his speed is coming from in terms of the lap time. Somehow he's hitting these corners, he's doing lines that's giving him that top speed that is that. If we're looking to Eaton, who is the next fastest, he's also doing 143, which is that's 1 kilometer, basically 1 kilometer an hour slower. So yeah, if they keep this up, maybe Moss won't catch Eaton.
I don't think they will, because they've gained a second in the last couple of laps, but with only 10 minutes to go in this race, I don't see how it's possible to make up 9 seconds over 9 minutes. And where we could have a fight on our hands between Moss and Harrison, and that will certainly slow them down in terms of closing the gap to Eaton. So we will see what happens in the next 9 minutes here, gentlemen, with only 9 minutes to play.
And they're pretty close. They're so close that even on the map, they're just basically one block together.
Indeed.
So, yeah, it's not done yet. They're chasing each other, and I think maybe they'll back off a bit regroup, figure out what they need to do, and then attack again. Because they are doing pretty fast laps. They're pretty much close within what their qualifying time were.
Oh, sorry, I wanted to ask this question. What determines the type of?
Chicken.
Oh no, it's a yellow flag, not a safety car. The first safety car,
Yes.
we had to regroup.
Yes.
The second one, I did the same thing, but I was mixing it up, I think, because on a yellow flag, you're not allowed to decrease the gap between the drivers. But there's not a safety car situation where you have to maintain your gap. There's nothing like that, right?
So if you follow, depending on what you're doing with the safety car and how it's handled, there's a speed differential that you would have to maintain to keep up with the closing, because that's sort of what the part of the safety car is, to close the group back up. So there's a maximum that you're allowed to drive, because what the safety car does is slow down the pack so that everybody else can catch up. So let's say if the safety car, and you see this in Formula One, they're always complaining that the safety car is going too fast. So if the safety car is doing 80 kilometers an hour, and then everybody's doing 80 kilometers an hour, and you're at the back, you're not going to be able to catch up, close that gap. So the safety car would have to slow down to 40 or 60 or whatever it is to allow you at that maximum to catch up back to the rest of the pack.
So on the safety car, drivers are there's no.
But you can't overtake.
Yeah.
You can't
That's the only rule.
You can't overtake unless you're Max Verstappen, but that's a completely different that's a completely different situation. You
Oh, we don't see
Ethan has dropped to third. What happened?
Serving his pit stop.
He's doing
No,
pit stop. Oh, he's going to pit stop. Okay. Wow. So we were correct.
Yeah, maybe he did in fact set the parameters prior to the race.
That's unfortunate.
That's unfortunate. Yes, very.
Yeah, this kind of puts, but it's 5 minutes left. It's kind of put a damper in the battle, but that also means that maybe Roper has a chance here. So let's. So Harrison is back to the top, and the race is going to finish the way it started. That's interesting. I would not. You know what? You can keep the lotto numbers. It's all right.
You had the lotto numbers twice in this race.
You can give me them next week. But yeah, you wouldn't be able to overtake the safety car unless the race director says that you're allowed to.
So, for example, this may be pushy, but under a safety car, you don't the position is it one after the other?
Yes.
Meaning the car has to be in totality behind, or can I be side by side but behind?
No. And again, we're getting into some Max Verstappen territory here. How you interpret the rules is, again, whether or not your name is Max and your last name is Verstappen. But depending on the sport, as I've seen, normally in Formula One, you're supposed to be in line. I know that in V8 supercars, they had to make that change because everybody was exactly doing what you were saying, which is as long as you don't pass, because the rule at that point was as long as you don't pass the other car under the safety car, you're fine. So what you'd find was that drivers would literally pull up and be 3/4 of their whole car next to the other person. So which kind of defeats the purpose of the safety car and having everybody back in line. So I think in V8 supercars they now indicate that you literally have to be behind the other car in front of you. You're not allowed to come to beside it, one wheel, etc., the door, etc. So you have to maintain that position behind the safety car. In NASCAR, again, same thing. You can hold your position. Again, the safety car can flag you around, or the race director can flag you around. And actually, there's a position where you are allowed to lap the safety car to bring yourself back into the current lap as a safety car. But again, the racing is amazing. That was interesting a while ago. We had a situation there. The race has, after all of this, it simply just panned right back into what it was. Harrison's still in front. Moss is in second. Eaton is third. I'm sure he's kicking himself with a big German boot right now, but
So I went missing in action for a minute, but based on the fact that Eaton has found himself in 30 seconds off the top two, he did have to take another pit stop.
yes, he came back in for another pit stop, and that's it. So we got to remember these things. Again, this is why we race. This is why we have an event like this, because again, there's things and sequences and things that you need to be used to and ensure that you get these things right, because you know, on a certain stage elsewhere in the world, you know, it there's some significant consequences on here. But Harrison and Moss, there's a second and a half between them. There's 2 minutes. I'm not sure if they're going to catch each other or they're just going to be holding.
It seemed like Harrison was pulling away for a little bit, but with 2 minutes to go, this could be the finishing order. But do remember that we have a sprint race to come moments after this race ends, and it will be a reverse grid. So if things end as they are now, Mr. Clark will be starting that race in P1. And okay. Sorry, so there's a missing driver who is Davil Park, who will be starting the sprint race from P1, as he is technically DNF in this race. And then the grid will run down from Clark all the way to Harrison in last place for that sprint.
So the question now is, in the sprint race, are the faster drivers in the back able to navigate the traffic and get back up to the front?
And they have 15 minutes to do it. So it's a quick race, no pit stops required. You'll just go until you can go no more. And
As one of the drivers, now that you're on pole, do you defend as much as possible? Do you try and hold back the faster drivers?
oh, you certainly do. I mean, this is your chance to gain points in the competition. It's not going to close the gap to the leaders. However, any point that you gain could come in handy later on. So you certainly don't want to just roll over and let the guys through. You know, you want to hold your position, defend with all your might. You know, put up 2 cannons and a moat if you have to. Anything that you can do to keep them back. Just fight your way down, fight your way through, and hopefully you can hold on for 15 minutes. It's a much shorter race, so there's a much smaller room for defense. And just to kind of make note whilst we're discussing, there is an additional lap following the end of time. So if time ends on this lap, there will be 1 lap to go. But if they do start another lap before time elapses, they will certainly have to go again.
Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7,
So it's
6,
dependent on
5,
when Jaden gets back to
4,
the
3,
line.
2, 1.
And time has elapsed.
Time has
but
elapsed.
It seems that, yeah, the leaders were quite somewhere around the field as we were riding along with the guys further back. So at
We're
the
gonna do
end
one more lap.
of Jaden's current lap, there will be 1 lap to go. So with Harrison now coming around to finish his second to last lap, at the end of this lap there will be 1 lap to go, and he did extend that gap to Moss.
Yes.
So he will certainly, barring catastrophe, come home to take the inaugural victory in the Peak Performance series. And once again, you know, it's great to see these drivers out there. They've provided us endless action this evening, and there's still one more race to come.
Jason Alexander's gotten a drive-through for cutting, so I'm not sure if his.
Maybe trying to get himself to start on pole for the
You know,
next race.
that might be a strategy. We'll have to talk to the stewards and all that. So how does that work? He has to come in
Well, I guess at the end of this lap, he'll just get a time penalty.
Get a time penalty. Okay,
Because
but that's
there's no lap to serve that drive-through penalty.
I have been engaged fully with this race from start to finish.
Absolutely.
Did I believe it was going to come back out to this? No. It's like you create a path and it starts at one. It's like cyclical. It just came right back to it, and again, amazing drive from everybody. Everybody had a chance here. People were all the way up to third, people were in first. You know, the mix. It was a blender of a roller coaster of a race, and I can't wait for the sprint race. So we're gonna have a 15-minute break, but sorry, a 5-minute break between the race.
Indeed. Whoa,
Who is
Jaden
this?
Harrison there, having a moment of moments. I'm not sure
Okay.
what just occurred.
I'm not sure. Maybe he got a. Did he finish his lap?
Oh my goodness.
So
And
so
that's
what happened?
gonna promote Moss
Did he get? Is it? No.
to the victory as
No. He's in the pit lane. It says he's first.
well. This is the final lap now, so Moss is now crossing the lap to win the race.
Oh. No.
I-
Wow. Okay. Did not. What in the world is? Okay.
The steward.
I don't know what happened there. I cannot tell you, people. If you're on the edge of your seat right now, you just fell off.
Certainly.
If you were not on the edge of your seat during this race, you literally just tumbled off right now. Jaden Harrison, who was leading the race, had a catastrophe, and now Moss,
Has won, and
Eaton, second step on the podium.
we will.
Okay, the stewards will go back through this,
and
you know,
figure out
figure what's
because-
happening here.
because we are confused here in the commentary box right now.
Yes, I have no idea what happened there.
That-
That was some internet stuff.
Very much so. So right, well, as the drivers are coming home to finish,
Yes,
we are
Harrison
being
is
told
just.
that it
And then, okay, so Alexander gets 20 seconds penalty to his final time. So that would put him on pole for race 2.
it might. It depends on how soon Tavar Clark comes home to finish. Because I think Tavar is still gonna be slow.
Okay.
And Davil Park, remember, is a DNF, so
Yeah,
he will
because,
definitely be starting.
yeah, so Tavares at 137. So if we added 20 to Alexander, he would be 27. So Tavares still 10 seconds.
All right, so as we are coming to the end of the first race, we will have a 5-minute break before the sprint, and we'll have all the updates to come to you before the start of the sprint race. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we will have more racing action coming to you momentarily. So stay with us, folks. We'll be back in 5 in order to get the sprint race going, and we will have all the updates for you, including the results and the final standings for the inaugural Peak Performance race. We'll be right back.
are broken. No more fights to pick up the pieces. I left you with the parts of me I don't wanna see you again. Don't wanna write any more of our story, 'cause I know how it is. When love isn't enough, you have to move on just to be numb. You know the rules there. No, it's not right. No, it's not right. I sleep better at night. When love isn't enough, you have to move on just to be numb. You know the rules there. No, it's not right. No, it's not right. But I'll sleep better tonight. When love isn't enough, you have to move on just to be numb. You know the rules there. No, it's not right. No, it's not right. No, it's not right. I sleep better at night. I just keep crying when I hear your name. Kissing her just sparked a flame. I took you for granted, and you did the same. I wish I never said those things. Taking your love is mine to keep, 'cause now you're my biggest regret, and it's not even a secret. When love isn't enough, you have to move on just to be numb. You know the rules there. No, it's not right. No, it's not right. I sleep better at night. When love isn't enough, you have to move on just to be numb. You know the rules there. No, it's not right. No, it's not right. But I'll sleep better tonight. No, it's not right. I sleep better at night.
Ladies and gentlemen, race fans, we're all recovering from that amazing race. My own heart rate has been lowered, actually probably raised. I had some water and some of the sugar, so I'm really, if I wasn't hyped up now from the cupcake and the racing, I'm totally in a sugar rush. So at this point in time, as you all saw that insane ending to this race, the main race, we are tentative based on what the stewards are going through. So at this point, the results, we're going to give you the point results. Chad is going to give you the point results because because what happens is that if he's wrong, then you just beat him up and not assault me. So Chad, here the results. And
That is boy, not just under the bus, but you reverse after you throw me on the first time. But
two busted.
here we are. Yeah, so the results are gonna stand prior to Jaden's incident. It is looking to be a glitch of systems, which can happen as this is online racing. However, Jaden is going to take that victory and have scored 25 points. Kurt Moss finished second to take 18 points. Mark Anthony Eaton finished third to take 15 points. Calvin Ropo in fourth to take 12. Eastman fifth to take 10. Jason Alexander sixth to take 8 points. Pavar Clark in sixth to take 6 points. And Daville in seventh to take 6 points, sorry. And Daville Park will take 4 points for eighth place in a DNF situation.
Okay, so we got two situations here. Everybody who competed today has scored points. So this is the first event, you have a chance. All right, there's no need to be sad or worried at this point. You have a points haul that you can build on. And then we're going into our 15-minute sprint race. So there's points all the way down to 8. So everybody's gonna get points in this race regardless of where they're finished. How many points again? Based on how you're racing. But at the end of the day, you're gonna get points. Now that means that DeVille is on pole.
It's followed by Tavar Clark on the front row alongside him.
Which point? Andrew.
Listen, as I said prior to this, it was up in the air, and I'm going to stay with that. Because after what we just saw, I was quite right. So I'm going to stay with that.
Quite literally up in the air.
Yeah. So just to clarify, the sprint is a reverse grid. I know we've said it before, but just to keep reminding you, it is reverse grid, and we will be starting in a moment. The drivers just had a free practice session in order to get back onto the servo. And yes,
all right, so
we do see in the chat where people are expressing their concern as to what happened with Harrison. We'll let you know when we know. Just stay tuned to our social medias and our other media outlets, and we'll keep you posted as to what happened there.
And Samantha Mitchell, we see you there on YouTube. Yes, go big up your driver. Other than the 100,000 K up for grabs, we have the biggest question tonight, and I'm going to you two gentlemen. Which was better, the donuts or the cupcake? We can end the event right now. We just need to answer that question. The stream is going wild. I can see the questions flying high and high.
For the sake of my pocket, I'm going to say both are equally. Equally.
You must be a politician.
No, I swear,
you
all of
cannot
the
give a straight
answers
answer.
this evening are very diplomatic, very politically correct.
I'm not going to bash the donut, man, because
donuts
what happens when you don't bring the cupcake? I'm going to starve. So I'm going to just stay neutral on that one. They're both as equally as tasty.
Boy, I guess Andrew's saying the best tasting one is the one that feed him.
Exactly. Precisely.
So, but I'll hedge my opinion, and I'll hang myself out on the limb. The cupcakes are superior, you know.
Okay. All right, no
I
problem.
had a little more going for them in terms
have
of
that-
moisture at the very least.
We have Mr. Dillon on record. Cupcakes over El Presidente's stale donuts. So
The
we're
choke,
good. I thank you. I appreciate it. You know, it was a small gesture working with you guys. It's been amazing. Don't worry, next time I'll bring some fried chicken.
Yeah, man. See, that's how
We can,
you
we can.
see what happens when you hang yourself out on the limb, Andrew.
No, but he hasn't delivered as yet. So you can hold your breath on that.
You're right on that. That promises a comfort to us.
Oh, no, I will after this event, I will definitely be here for the next race in 2 weeks. There's nothing that can keep me away from it. It's been absolutely amazing.
And as you mentioned,
Again, you gentlemen have been absolutely amazing to work with.
we appreciate that, Rory. And as you mentioned, that there are 2 weeks until the next peak performance race. That does not mean you are without action, folks, as there is the Chase of Pace series in the off weeks of peak performance, where the drivers get a chance to give you a little preview or a prequel to what is to come in peak performance.
Oh, we did this.
So, as mentioned, Chase of Pace happens on the off weeks of peak performance. What will happen is the tracks that will be used in the peak performance series will be used on Chase of Pace.
And also, if you check in with the JSRA's Twitch channel, we have you can get a preview of this. We have the free practice on Friday nights at 7.
And all of the previous races as well.
Yeah. So if don't just believe that the racing action is just tonight. If you tune in every Friday and every weekend, yes, if you tune in every Friday and Saturday at 7 on their social media platform or Twitch channel, or you can watch the race. Matter of fact, watch the free practice so you know you don't just come empty into the event. So you can see who's your favorite
it does
driver.
give you some context.
Yeah.
We have taken a momentary break as we are trying to get the drivers all lined up for the sprint race. So just give us a moment here and we'll be right back. Okay, folks, so we will be getting going again in a moment for the sprint race, 15-minute sprint race. And we expect more excitement given the thrilling.
Can we handle more? Can we handle more excitement than
We're
this?
gonna have to build some space for it, because if it's anything like the first race, I mean, I
Is
might
it-
have an aneurysm this evening.
Can we say that is that correct? Is the community plays? Race 1 was hectic. Yep, many changes for the lead. It was like a dice game all the way to the end. It was just rolling.
And we will have more excitement here because the top three will be starting from the back of the field. So who's to say?
Martin 2023, yes, what a race. Completely agree with you.
Ah, Lord. So we will be getting going for the 15-minute sprint race in a moment. We're just waiting for the drivers to line up in their grid positions, and then we will see what the procedure is. We did give you the points tally already, but just in case we weren't clear, the point standings, well, the drivers are lining up and they are in their grid boxes, so we will review as the sprint race gets going. But
Let's understand this. DeVille Park's on pole. Tavar Clark is in second place on the grid. Again, we were talking with Mr. Spence. He's doing the politician thing. He's just deflecting, not willing to make a choice. But I'm gonna go with Harrison on this one.
well, let's see what happens in turn one, right? Because if you have the quicker drivers starting from the rear, it all depends on how aggressive they are
I have a
into
question.
turn one.
I have a question. So
Sure.
in racing you have team orders, right?
Yes.
And that's legal.
Yes.
Now let's just say.
We will give you your question in a moment, as we have 6 red lights and we
What
will
would
be
happen
getting
is-
going now. And already we see Mark Eaton making a position on, I'm not sure if that's Eastman or Rope, I believe that's Eastman.
Yes. It's a car.
And going into turn one, there is chaos ensuing.
Yep.
Confusion in turn one. There will be no safety cars in the sprint race, so whatever happens, they'll just have to sort it out with the stewards after. So Calvain Roper finds himself in second, and Moss with a start of starts, finding himself in third position with Jaden Harrison all over the tail of him. And the top three find themselves from 3 to 5. Just like that.
That was interesting. I would have thought that my strategy at this point, does he understand? Well, okay. That was a brave move right there. There was some understanding of the track limits there for Moss, but he must know at this point. I would have to say is that given the faster drivers, my point would have been to just sit back, let the chaos happen in front, and
Well,
then go
it's-
through.
it's
I would
like-
not have gone into all that mayhem just a while
Well,
ago.
it's a little bit difficult to kind of just hang back because you don't want to put yourself too far out of contention.
Yeah, but if everybody's gonna crash into corner one, by the time you get there, it'd be clear and you can choose your path.
That's fair, but I mean, it's a 5-lap race. 15 minutes will give you maybe, well, not 5 laps. 15 minutes will give you maybe 7 laps of racing. So you have 7 laps to get from the tail end of the grid, and the drivers will be defending.
And again,
Ooh, there's chaos all around. Not
somebody
sure who
went
that
to the
was.
right there.
We'll be told momentarily. I believe that was Tavar. It wasn't. It was Robo.
Did he get helped
It was
off or
Robo,
did
yeah.
he spun up?
Robo just seemed to have dropped it there. And here we have the top 3 making their way through the field. We've been 1 lap of racing and we have the top 3 going at it already. Tavar Clark maintained position, but Moss is fighting him into turn 1 here, and Tavar hanging it around the whole side.
Now we've
Keeps
seen
it
this
on
before.
track.
We've seen Tavar race before. We know he can make his car as wide as possible. But the question is, does he have the ability to hold off Moss?
Well,
Is Moss going to get too aggressive and make a mistake, and Harrison's going to close up, or is it a situation where you think Harrison's going to be taking advantage of the whole thing and to sit back and
Well, I don't think these drivers know how to sit back based on how
Yeah,
they've been
yeah.
racing so far. Here's Moss trying to make a move in this section of track.
Did
That's
he
brave.
just pass it?
That
My
is
God.
brave.
He did the fast 249 kilometers an hour through the speed trap.
My goodness. And he made that move stick. Good on him because I was on the edge of my
And
seat
as you
there.
can,
That
as you can
move-
see behind there, Jaden Harris is trying to make a move on Tavar. Tavar's not taking the sitting down. He is blocking. He sees a position. He sees the points. He sees the big fat check at the end of the season. Why wouldn't you do everything that's possible? He's
here
trying to
goes
hold
Jaden.
off the baby driver, but it's not gonna happen. Harris is past him.
And Eaton will be next up on the road to try and make the move.
Just eating up all the competition there. There we go. I made fun of this name.
Good fun there.
Okay.
And we will see what happens when we get to turn 1. I think Mark might have to hold station here
And-
through this corner.
I just have to say this: nobody drove bad here today.
I don't think so. I think it's been very great
everybody's
racing.
been doing the best they can with what they have, and I appreciate that.
There's still some incidents taking place. Either Rocco just gained 2 position. No, I'm not sure what happened there between Alexander Park and Rocco, but I imagine he will be looking to make this move.
There we
I'm
go.
surprised he hasn't already made the move as Mark Anthony. He should have gotten by, and this is what I mean because the
We've
breaking points
seen
for the slower driver
we've
is so far
we've
off.
seen these two before. There we go. Is he beside him? He's
Yeah,
complete. Yeah, the
he's
arrow
beside
saying
him,
there's some
and I think
NASCAR
Tavar
action a
finally-
while ago. There we go.
To finally
There we
better
go.
of it.
The dam just broke. There we go. All right, the top 3 are back again. what they say? Vengeance is mine. Let's see what happens. Moss is trying to squeeze up the top points. See if he can grab another 20. Grab his a 25, trying to equal himself with Harrison. So, but then again, he has pole. Points for pole. Did we check the fastest lap?
I believe-
Easy. He had the
I
fastest
believe it
lap
was
as well.
Moss with the fastest
Fastest lap as
so-
well. So, you know,
Moss having himself a good haul of points here.
there
today.
you go.
And he should he take the sprint victory. I don't think he'll find himself ahead of Jaden Harrison, but he might be level.
No, he
on-
would be.
No, he'd be some points
He'd be-
behind
yeah,
if Harrison maintained second position, because that would have given Harrison 32 points to Moss's 28 or 27.5, I should say. So that would put Jaden Harrison.
Well, that's why you're here, Chad. You're the mathematician. I don't know any of this stuff.
So yeah, that would put Moss about 4.5 points behind Jaden Harrison. Eaton having maintained third, and again, folks, it is to be clarified, but Eaton would have gotten third position in the first race as well. Stewards will give us the rundown after the event, and we will know if that's actually how the first race result will stand, and then we will get the updated points tallies.
It's 15 minutes. How you attack the 15 minutes? You saw how they were driving in the 45-minute race. How are they doing with 15
Sorry,
minutes?
Harrison having a moment there running wide.
Oh my God!
And
There we go.
That will probably
Ooh,
be advantageous to the front two at the moment, as Harrison, who would have taken top honors in race 1, has now found himself tumbling down to 6th position.
let's go back to it. I wonder what happened right there.
That will now give Jaden Harrison 2 points in this event to Moss and Eaton scoring 8 and 7. So there is a 5-point swing and a 6-point swing on the
It's-
cards.
It's like a what was that movie where it is a puzzle that never seems to end. We look at the race, we look at the talent, and we try and make a guess. But no matter what we do, the race always ends up somehow. Now the question is there enough time for Mr. Harrison to come back to?
And Kelvin Romo is all over the back of Tavar Clark. He's looking to make that move. He's been looking all through Sector 1 and Sector 2, and I imagine he might find it here as he got the better drive out of the final corner, but had to back off of it as Tavar got heavy on the brakes there in the final turn.
Well, Roper has a history with the JSRA. He was fast enough to be chosen for the national qualifier to go to represent us at the Monaco Sim Racing World Championship last year. Unfortunately, against the regions, we didn't get to qualify. But at the end of the day, I think Roper, he's fast. Unfortunately, the results that he needs to show that speed hasn't been forthcoming. But again, I don't think it's necessarily his fault. We are dealing with some very good top class talent here. And I think sometimes
Gonna look to make a move through
I
this
don't.
section of
Is
track.
that
My
how
God.
is that even possible? There
Well,
he goes.
he's finding the
There we
space.
go. He's still right there.
And Clark-
There you go.
Clark.
Oh.
I will have to commend Tavar Clark through all three of these battles because it would have been very easy as a driver in front
I think got
to
to pass the same place with us.
with Moss, exactly. For all three passes, he would have been
Good.
well within his rights to plant his car in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
But in a spirit of competition,
Yes.
he was very good in leaving space
Yes.
both times, and that is worth commending. So good on him, good racing, and unfortunately, it's good racing for him to be tumbling down the order. But it's good to see that the spirit of competition is not dead. What's the funny, Andrew? Come on now.
We got 5 minutes, Andrew. Tell us what's happening here.
Well, on the point of strategies, I had a question earlier. Yeah, back to the team orders situation.
Yeah,
Right?
sorry, we're discussing that.
If I'm in second position, so let's say I came last first race,
Mhm.
right? And I said, well, all right, person in front of me, I know I can pass them.
Mhm.
It's evident that I can pass them. But I choose to fill in the gaps of defense that he's lacking. So for where he's defending me, I'm also basically helping him defend the person behind. So I want to secure those points. Now the stewards can look at that and say, is that legal or legal? Meaning I've chosen not to pass him as a mode of strategy to get points because I know I'm not as fast as everybody else by intentionally blocking the pack. Because team orders could be if I have said, oh, you guys take the
Well,
and block the rest of the pack.
depending on what sport you're in, blocking is actually an issue. So you can defend, but intentionally blocking another driver is an issue.
Okay, when I say blocking, I really mean defending. But in other words,
No, well, if you defend, you're perfectly within your right to defend as rigorous as you want. But again, you cannot purposely block a driver if there's an open move.
Well, let me see if I
stuff like
understand.
that.
Let me see if I understand.
But
Andrew's
if you want to just park your car on the race line, every lap consistently around the circuit, you're perfectly able to do so.
Well, let me see if I understand Andrew's question. I think what Andrew's asking is, in trying to use the driver in front, so say I'm in second position and the driver ahead, we know we're not as quick as, say, in the initial launch, Daville Park, as Jaden Harrison gets by Kimani Eastman to take 5th position, which I think is as high as he's going to get as Tavar Clark. Is 3 seconds up the road, and we have maybe 2 laps to go here. Well, 2, maybe 3. We'll see if we get the 3rd lap in. But Jaden Harrison making back one of the positions he lost in the spin.
Yeah, sorry, you're saying?
Yeah, so we see Jaden Harrison here having made it back one of the positions he lost on his spin.
All right,
He is chasing Tavar Clark with about 2 laps to go.
Yes, we got 2 laps to go. Can he?
I mean, it's a
Well, he's not gonna-
2.5 second gap. Maybe he can make that.
But he's gonna miss out the podium. But again, he's got a good points all, so it should
Yeah,
be
at
good.
this point,
so
it's damage control.
So let's
Right,
analyze
so
what
back to
Andrew was.
Andrew was saying. So staying this, for example, the start was Tavar Clark and Daville Park up there in positions 1 and 2. Just positioning my car to use the person ahead of me to, whilst I'm technically impeding the driver behind, it's just a method of defense.
Yeah.
That is perfectly legal. However, how good are you at this is the name of the game, because sure, you can position your car in a way, but then it's not that you're in constant communication with that driver to know where he's putting his car, to then know where you're going to put yours. So you know what I mean? That could end in catastrophe for both of you, but if you are able to successfully execute such a maneuver, it could certainly be advantageous to gain back the points that you're so desperately lacking, having finished so far down the order. However, like we've said, this is a long series. We have 6 races to go following the sprint, and there are points on offer for all of these races. We will be having an interview with the top 3 finishers, and it doesn't matter whether it's the sprint or the race, it's the same top 3 finishers based on where the results stand currently. So we'll be talking to those drivers after the event. Top 3 points finishers, and we'll be talking to those drivers post-event. Andrew having pointed out to me that Jaden Harrison had fallen down the order, which I had momentarily forgotten. I'm just so used to seeing him up there with the other 2. I'm not sure what that mistake was. We'll certainly have to ask him about that in the interview. Having a strange weekend there is Jaden Harrison, having been quicker than everybody else throughout most of the event.
You know, and as I say, that's why we race. It doesn't matter if you're the theoretical fastest. It's what happens on track. You do your best. You're dealing with all these other variables around you. At the end of the day, you may not win, you may win, but you got to give yourself a chance. And again, that's what I was saying with Roper. He's very fast. He's a good driver. The situation has been that the results have not exactly panned out in his way to tell you really how good he really is. So at this point, everything's Moss is coming in for a good points haul. Eaton again, and again, so we just have to. There's another one in 2 weeks. The guys are going to have to regroup. They're going to spend the next 2 weeks.
Harrison will be looking to get that move done right now,
Wow.
because I believe Kurt Moss has finished, and this will be the end of the race. Can he get him before the line? It will be a photo finish between these 2. And
wow.
Kavar Clark just stays ahead to hold on to 4th position as Jane was trying to take it from him there. Kavar Clark having given it everything to keep that 4th position. My goodness.
I think the stewards might have a little look at what happened at the end there, but that's not our job. They're going to have a busy night.
Oh, certainly they will.
The results will
no
be
shortage of action,
the results will be on the JSRA socials.
which are still listed on screen.
It's still listed on screen, which will, you can check Monday, probably Tuesday, and maybe even Wednesday, given what's been happening tonight. But again, excellent racing from everybody. Everybody took home some points. So at this point, at this juncture in the series, everybody still has a chance at the $100,000 prize pool.
And for the
Did I mention that $100,000 up for grabs?
And for the drivers that did miss today's race, this is not for you to be deterred. There is still an opportunity for you to get back into the top 3. We know some of those drivers do have the talent to do so.
Yeah,
Mainly one, Mitch and Hollis,
we're
we saw in the
missing
track.
Paisley. Mr. Paisley opted to go to Krispy Kreme rather than race, so he wanted another type of donut. I'm just kidding. No. Life happens. We know that again. We're trying to have this season as much as you still have the options. So, as you said, they'll be joining us hopefully later on.
Right. And so as we have the finishers now, Moss gaining another 8 points to put him at 27.5. Jaden would have gained 4 points to put him at 29. So we will see we will have the official point haul for you But as the looks of it, Jaden Harrison does maintain the lead of this championship to this point, until the stewards have reviewed all of the necessary information to kind of give you an idea of what is happening. But we will be having an interview with the top 3 points haul tally finishers, who are Kurt Moss, Jaden Harrison, and Mark Anthony Eaton. We will have them come into the commentary box when they are available, as they should be pulling back into the pits momentarily. And we will get some thoughts from them on the first race, having just completed the inaugural race in the Peak Performance series here with the JSRA's first season.
Making history, first sim racing event in the JEI's National Esports League. Also, again, the first professional sim racing series event that in this country. And we have a prize pool of, did I say that there's $100,000 up for grabs? Okay, so we're going to be speaking with Mark Anthony, the man with 2 names. He's so great they had to name him twice. We'll be speaking with him first. Mark, sit down. Let's give us a taste of that race. How was it for you? What happened at the beginning there, that first corner? How did that go?
For the sprint race, right?
No, for the very first race, for the main race.
Going into corner 1, Kurt braked a little earlier than I was expecting. So I kind of just ran the race from jump. For me, it wasn't the best race. A lot of silly mistakes. I was leading at one point, but I couldn't keep it. So kind of not really the best race for me. I messed up my pit stop strategy. Well, I messed up. I went in for pits, went in for tires, and the game just didn't change the tires. So I'm not sure what that was about. But the second race was much better. There was a bit of chaos in the first corner. So I got put out of position for where I would have liked to be. But still a decent race. I did my best to chase down Kurt. But when we're doing it at the same time, it's kind of hard to close a 2-second gap. So good job to Kurt. Good job to Jaden. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think? I know we're only in the first round of the series, but what do you think of the series so far? Are you committed to it? Where do you see the series taking you?
I'm fully committed for the series. Right now, I'm still in my first year of sim racing, so I want to just get through the season with the best results as possible. And then see where it takes me from there.
Okay. The car, the track, the circuit, how was it for you otherwise? Is it you're going to be using this car for the rest of the series? How are you gelling with it? Is it still difficult to drive?
I'm learning it. There's some little nuances with the car that I'm still trying to iron out, especially with it getting the tires of the temperature. That seems to be the hardest part about this car. The track, not my first time driving it, so that's a plus for me. Usually most of the races I do, the track we're driving is my first time running on it. So it was a bit easier to get up to speed during practice. I couldn't get the car underneath me in the races, which is the main issue, or at least in the first race.
Okay. Andrew, any questions for Mr. Eden?
No, not really. Usually his races are good. The only issue is probably, I'm not sure where your mind is. I ask you this every time, but the truth is you do consistently well doing practice, doing qualifying when you're watching. And then from that first race, Paul Ricard, you told me that your race was fine, and in the moment Jaden started to extend the gap, you just lost. I'm wondering if that keeps happening to you. If you're still, are you?
Not particularly. It's just silly mistakes. I guess you could call it rookie mistakes, but they're really just mishaps that I keep doing. I don't know if I'm putting myself under too much pressure for the races, but there's just nothing really to do.
That's probably it. If
Yeah.
you figure that out, I think you'll be fine.
All right, thank you. Who do we have next?
And
Okay, we're live with Sir Kurtling Moss, all the way from New York. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you guys doing?
not too bad, Mr. Moss. A thrilling first round, lots of action on track. Talk us through the race itself.
Was it the 45? The main race was a pretty good one. My start didn't go as I would have hoped. I got a little love tap at the start, so Jaden got ahead of me, and then I gave him a love tap. I think in with this car, you have to keep every time you go to the pit and come back out, you have to reset your brake bias, and I completely forgot to reset mine, so it messed up my whole braking. So I tapped Jaden going into the end of that backstretch. So that caused us to lose a whole bunch of space. But besides that, man, the racing was fun. Jaden and Mark were driving pretty good. So and the sprint race was very excited, to say the least.
Right. Yeah, no, there were some incidents out there that we would have to go over to have the discussion about. But the first race, you mentioned the love taps, as you call them, between yourself and Jaden. I think you had somebody give you one at the start as well, as you said. But yeah, no, I think the chase was on towards the last part of that race. However, I think you could have caught Jaden had you had a little bit more time.
No, he had good pace, man. I kept making some simple mistakes. He was driving better than I was at the end of the race, so I would have to give it up to him.
And talk us through the sprint. I mean, it took you about all of one lap to get the lead in that sprint race, and then you just never look back.
Yeah, when you do it a sprint race, especially if it's a reverse grid type situation, the key is trying to get ahead of the slower guys as fast as possible. And hopefully the other faster guys will get caught up in the traffic and allow you to pull away a little bit. And yeah, a couple incidents in front of me caused me to get behind Tavar, and I got a run on him going through that little squirrely section there, and yeah, it worked out pretty good.
No, I must say that was a gutsy move, as you mentioned, the move with Tavar through that section. I mean, did you think it would work out as well as it did? Because I don't know of that section being that forgiving if you got that any kind of wrong.
Well, I was just hoping for the best. I got a very good run on him going at the entrance to that section there. So I pulled up. I think I was just a tad in front of him. So I couldn't pull out, and I couldn't go to my left anymore. So I was like, just try to keep my steering straight as possible and go over the grass a little bit, and hope for the best, man. And it worked out in the
Yeah,
end.
yeah, no, commendations to both of you because that was good, clean racing that could have ended in catastrophe had you not both given the kind of space you did. But here we have completed event one of the 7 race series, and you sit in second position by, as things stand right now, about 4.5 points. That could change when all of the reviews are done. And actually, I think it's less than that. I think it's actually 3.5 points. My apologies. But yeah, that could change after all the reviews are done. So how are you feeling about the series on a whole? And what do you think your chances are of taking top honors?
Well, it's all about, putting in the work, getting the laps done. There are 1 or 2 tracks that I'm not too fond of. I'm not gonna say, but yeah, it's just staying. The key with this car, I think, is staying on track, because it's so easy to lose the rear end of this car. So it's all about not making any major mistakes, and hopefully it keeps me in front.
Well, good on you, Kurt, and thank you for providing us with a thrilling race one. And we look forward to what you are gonna do in the rest of the series. And we'll see if we end up. Well, I'm sure we'll end up talking to you again in the winner's circle as the series progresses. So, good luck and thanks again.
And thank you guys for providing this avenue for us to race, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
All right. All right, folks. That was Kurt Moss, who the winner of the sprint race and second place finisher in race number 1. Again, Kurt Moss currently sits on 27.5 points to Jaden Harrison's 29 points. Speaking of Jaden Harrison, we'll be having a conversation with him right now. Mr. Harrison, are you there?
Yep.
Boy, Jaden, very eventful first race. I think the pressing question that myself and all the viewers want to know is explain what went on towards the end of the first race.
So I had a 2 second gap to Kurt, and coming out of the corner into the straight, into the last complex of corners, I had turn up the traction control just to make sure, I stick the car through here and get the win. But on the straight, my game had frozen, and then it just unfroze like 10 seconds later, and I was in the ground.
Oh my, okay, so it was a glitch because it looked very strange. That was an accident that we've not seen happening before. I mean, as it stands right now, you maintain that victory given that it doesn't seem to be a driver error that caused that. So, as the points tally goes now, you are leading this championship so far. How confident are you that you can maintain this lead going forward?
Well, the tracks on the calendar, they all seem to suit everybody's driving style that would be running at the front. So I don't think that me or anyone could say who is going to win, because some of the tracks suit other drivers, some of the tracks don't. So you'll see some guys running at the front, some guys running at the back.
Well, that's fair, and I like the vote of humility. But let's be real, you've shown your 1 lap pace to be something to be reckoned with. How the battles with Moss and Mark Anthony Eaton in the first race? I mean, talk us through some of those. I think you got ahead in lap 1, turn 1, and then talk us through what took place after that.
Yeah, I got ahead on the lap 1 on the restart. Kurt slightly missed his brake force and tapped me, but yeah, back the position, and we made our way back up through the traffic. But yeah, the first race was good. Was having a nice battle with Mark there for a couple of laps, rubbing doors and everything. But yeah, good defense from him, good defense from Kurt, good racing from everybody, clean, close, hard racing.
Absolutely. And a driver error there in the sprint. What happened?
So I just think I lost focus. The tires were cold. I was pushing too hard, but I just lost focus and threw the car into the grass.
Okay. Well, as we said, it's a long series, and I mean, no better place to start than at the top. So, good luck to you for the rest of the series, Jaden, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
All right, thanks.
All right. Okay, folks, so that brings us to the end of the driver interviews, and we have had quite the exciting evening. Lots of action, lots to talk about, lots of the stewards to do as well. And I'm sure you will be staying tuned to all our socials to get the updates on everything that took place. And I mean, if this was just race 1, there are 6 more to go. So there is excitement afoot for all to witness. I mean,
I think this is what they call an eventful night of racing.
quite
And
so.
again, I'm happy that this event has happened. It is the foot in the door for the future of the genre, sim racing in Jamaica, and we're just going to get it bigger and better. As you can see, the racing is exciting, unpredictable, everything you can imagine. The drama, the excitement, you know, and that's what we want to bring, the talent that you see on display.
Certainly. And again, that was just race one, night one.
And
There are 6 races to go. We expect to see you for all
I
6.
just want to commend, and this is how where we're at this point. We just got a message, GT Panama. Hello to you too. Thank you for tuning into our little series. We had no idea. Again, we understand with a broadcast partner, Sportsmax. You know, again, to everybody else, this is explaining the reach that this platform now has. Somebody from Panama just messaged us to inquire about racing here and racing with Jamaicans.
And
that tells you what the reach we're having.
And as was the response, you'd have had to have registered for this series previously, but that's not to say that there aren't other series on offer for you to compete in. We have JSRA Pace that runs parallel to Peak Performance that is open to any and all drivers. Just reach out to us on any of our socials and you can certainly become part of those events.
And we're racing with Venezuela. We're racing with
Dominican
Dom Rep
Republic.
on Tuesdays and Wednesdays as well. Again, we're reaching out to as much of our overseas partners as well. You know, we have the CSRO. They're big up to Stefan there. You know, we had the Colombia versus Caribbean event at the beginning of the year to start this whole thing. So this is a journey. This is just one step, as I said, the foot in the door, and we're just going to keep going and going. Please, again, every 2 weeks, you can come back here and watch the next round. But even within that, we have the Chase for Pace. We also have on the Friday before this event, we have the free practice, which is streamed on our Twitch as well. And you can check that out on our socials and stuff. So again, a night where my breath was taken away.
Yep, we certainly had endless
And
action to
again-
talk about.
Again, Chad, Mr. Dillon, the pleasure to work with you tonight.
Oh, I
Absolutely,
certainly-
you made this event. Your commentary is excellent. And again, even just listening to you when you're doing this stuff on the weekends or the rest of the event, again, you make this show what it is. So
Oh gosh, I
it was
appreciate-
absolute pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the big ups, but my head can't get too much bigger. It's big enough as it is. But thank you, and it was a pleasure having you here as well, Rory. You know, it's nice to have the OG commentator, you know, the man that started us on this journey, and he's been right there giving us any tips he can, giving us direction, you know, commending us where he should, giving us the criticisms that we need to help us push this platform. And I can't tell you the growth that we have seen thus far and the growth that we expect to see going forward. There are great things to come for the JSRA. Speaking it into being. But yes, thank you folks for joining us this evening. It was good to be here to present this action to you, and we look forward to seeing you on all future events. Stay tuned to our socials to get updates on anything that you might have missed or anything that might need to be clarified, and to see where all the future events will fall. Thanks again. I've been Chad Dillon alongside Rory Daly, and Zorro. Mr. Andrew Spence has disappeared once more, but thanks for staying tuned with us, and we'll see you next time.
Six, my